Welcome to Cooking with Mrs. Salisbury. Today you'll be making my perfect chocolate chip cookies. Originally, they were developed by Mrs. Wakefield at the Toll House Inn when she ran out of baking chocolate and had to use a broken chocolate bar, which turned out to be a favorite cookie for many people. I know you'll love my recipe. First, we need to talk about the fact that this is a 2-bowl recipe. We'll be creaming ingredients first, and then we'll have our dry ingredients in our other bowl. So in creaming ingredients, I have 2 sticks of butter here, 2 sticks of butter, and that is 1 cup, 2 sticks, 1 cup of butter. We'll have 3/4 cup of brown sugar and 3/4 cup of white. So with the 3/4 cup of brown sugar, when we measure brown sugar, we need to pack it in. You have to pack it in, so we'll press it against here, 3/4 cup. So we'll have a half, and we'll have a 1/4, and I press it against here for 3/4 cup. We'll move it over here. I love to measure brown sugar. It's making little sand castles, which I've always found lovely, and it's such a great smell to have that. We also have 3/4 cup of white sugar. We'll put that in now. And we are going to cream these ingredients. So we'll evenly distribute the fat with the sugar, so when we make our cookies, they will bake evenly. So with some hand mixers, they start off really fast. Some will go slow, medium, high. This one starts off pretty fast. You can also stir cookies by hand. So I may have to start this. So just room temperature butter, not cold, not melted. I'm staying right in the middle of the bowl so it doesn't flip things around. Have a good hold on the mixer if you're younger and haven't used one, but you can also mix it by hand. We're evenly distributing the fat with the sugar. Right, we're done. Here's the brown sugar, the white sugar, and the butter. I know it's packed in these beaters right now, but that's not a problem. We need to also add 2 eggs, and I have 2 lovely organic eggs here that we will crack and put in. Always crack them in a separate bowl to avoid getting any shells in those cookies. So we'll crack the egg. I'm going to use this bowl for my garbage bowl. Crack this egg. There's my garbage bowl. So with that, I'm going to wipe my hands off a second. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla, 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla, and then I'll add the eggs. So we have our cup of butter, 3/4 cup of brown, 3/4 white, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla with our 2 eggs. So I didn't worry about the sugars and the butter sticking in with the beaters, because when I start to mix the eggs, as you see, it came out. So that's why I didn't bother taking it out. But at this point, I'll take my rubber scraper, go around the edge of the bowl, go across here just a tiny bit. Now I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to get my bowl for the dry ingredients. With my dry ingredients, I need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. 2.5 cups. I have 1 cup in here right now. Recipes are written so you spoon the flour in and you level it off. So you can use a table knife, just turn it upside down. We don't want it to dig in the flour. So here's 1 in here already, 2, and now 1/2, and we'll spoon the flour in just to fluff it up a little bit. Turn the knife upside down. You need to level it, because if you have extra flour, there are 4 tablespoons in 1/4 cup, and you will have way too much flour. 2.5 cups of flour. Let's move this over to the side. Then I need 1 teaspoon of soda, 1 teaspoon of soda, That's what it usually comes in the yellow box, and I need a half teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of soda, half teaspoon of salt. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this with the wire whisk, not a dust storm, just stir it with the wire whisk. Done. Now I'm going to add the dry ingredients to the sugars. Set this over here. You can use a spatula if you want, or you could use the mixer. Either one is fine. They call spatula rubber scraper too, which is perfectly fine. Okay, we'll just keep folding this over and try to stay kind of in the middle of the bowl a little bit. We don't want to lose any of our dry ingredients. So we'll just go like this. Chocolate chip cookie dough is one you have to refrigerate. Some doughs you don't, but chocolate chip dough you do need to refrigerate. I know you want one right away, but you have to refrigerate it. Either for an hour, or you can put it in the freezer for a half hour. Either works perfectly fine. So I'm getting this all mixed up. It's looking good. Such a great cookie. Fold this over. You've got to get all the dry ingredients mixed in. Getting there. Almost. Almost. So you see now, we only have a little bit of dry ingredients. You can see the white against the dark tan here. Almost. Okay. That's perfect. I'm going to stop there. Next, what we'll do is we'll add our 2 cups of chocolate chips, and then we will mix these in, and then I will freeze my dough for half an hour. Like I said, you can refrigerate it for an hour or freeze for half an hour. Mix these chocolate chips in, get them evenly distributed in the dough so everyone can have some chocolate chips in their cookie. Okay, oh my gosh, look at that. It just mixes together so quickly, and cookies are so good. So I have this. Now I notice here on my mixer, I still have some dough, so I'm going to unplug the mixer. I'm going to take these out, and I'm going to take just a little bit of dough off of my beaters here. Just a little bit of dough off the beaters with a rubber scraper. No problem. There we go. That's looking great. Looking great. Just a tiny bit more here. Looking good. Okay. So here's a bit more dough. So I'm going to cover this with saran wrap, and then I'm going to freeze mine for half an hour, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to Cooking with Mrs. Salisbury. I just took my cookie dough out of the freezer. I put it in the freezer, remember, for a half hour. You could put it in the refrigerator for an hour if you like. And then I started making the balls of dough on the cookie sheet. They should be about 2 inches apart. I don't want it too close to the edge here, so I think about 3 fingers, some space around each one. You will get 22 cookies out of my recipe, 22 nice sized cookies. And so that is, I divide the bowl of dough in half, and then I get about 11 cookies out of each half. So that's a good way to do it. Wipe my hands off here. I have had the oven preheating since they were in the freezer. So the oven is on 375 degrees, and I will be baking my cookies for 14 minutes. You can bake them 14 to 15 minutes. Remember, there'll be a medium brown color around the edge and a lighter tan in the center. When you finish baking them, make sure you leave them on the cookie sheet to set up. Wait 5 minutes, let them set up, otherwise they'll crunch together, and then you will have the perfect chocolate chip cookies. I just baked some, so let me put these over in the oven, and then I will bring some over that I just baked. Here are some chocolate chip cookies, my perfect, Mrs. Salisbury's perfect chocolate chip cookies. They're still a bit warm, so let me try to pick them up. Oh, look, crispy, chewy, and chocolate chip gooey. What more do we want? One of our favorites, Mrs. Salisbury's perfect chocolate chip cookies.